Krishna. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
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 This is Bhagavad Gita, chapter 18, verse 78. Every word spoken by Lord Krishna is so precious and so important. If we just take one word there, we can speak on that for almost a year. Just one word, yatra, right? But we don't have time today, we don't have Satya Yuga, so we'll just go according to space, Kali Yuga space. So 1878 of the Bhagavad Gita, Yatra Yogeshwara Krishna,
Yatra Yogeshwara Krishna.
Yatra Pada Dhanujara,
Yatra Partho Dhanudara.
Tatra Sri Vijaya Bhuti,
Tatra Shri Vijaya Bhuti.
Dhruvaniti Matir Mama,
Bhuvanite Mate Mama.
Yatra Yogeshwara Krishna,
Yatra Yogeshwara Krishna.
Tatra Pada Dhanudira,
Yatra Partho Dhanudara.
Tatra Sri Vijaya Bhuti,
Tatra Shri Vijaya Bhuti.
Dhruvaniti Matir Mama.
Bhuvanite Mate Mama.
Translation by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Wherever there is Krishna, the master of all mystics, and wherever there is Arjuna, the supreme archer, there will certainly be opulence, victory, extraordinary power, and morality that is more pity. This is very important. If you surrender to Krishna, automatically you get in the package Radharani. And Radharani is the goddess of fortune. So you got Krishna giving you so much of wisdom, and Radharani taking care of your financial needs. And there's Arjuna that will give you a lot of strength, the strength that he's had in the battlefield, the strength, mental strength and physical strength to deal with your day-to-day problems. And there'll be opulence. We know in the Hare Krishna movement that the big temple of Mayapur is costing millions and millions and millions of dollars, because that's going to be the largest temple in the world. But it took the grandson of Henry Ford, who had millions and millions and millions of dollars, to start this project. So wherever there's Krishna, there will always be opulence. Always be opulence. And many of our devotees internationally are very successful business people, professional engineers, etc., etc. Because they surrender to the holy names of God and they follow His instructions. And there'll be morality. Morality meaning the four principles of the International Society for Krishna Consciousness is no meat eating, no intoxication, no gambling, and no illicit sex. Illicit sex is the cause of the high divorce rates in North America. So morality means that we will always be faithful to our spouses and it will be all good. Thank you. Now, what is the significance of the number 18 in the Bhagavad Gita? Firstly, the Bhagavad Gita has how many chapters?
18.
Good. How many days did the battle of Kurukshetra last?
18.
18. The total number of battalions, Akshonis. There were 11 Akshonis on the battle side of the Kurus and 7 Akshonis on the side of the Pandavas, giving you a total of 18 battalions. And what do those battalions comprise of? Elephants, 21,870. If you add those numbers excluding the zero, what do you get?
18.
2187, what would you get?
18.
Very good. There were total cavalry of 65,610. If you leave the zero out, what number do you get?
18.
18. The infantry was 109,350. Add it up without the zero, what do you get?
18.
8. Krishna killed Kamsa when he was 18 years of age. Who survived the battle? This is sometimes an area of debate, but who survived the battle? It was Lord Krishna himself, the Pandavas, Kritavarma, Yudsu, Satyaki, Yayati, Ashvatam, and Kripacharya. These are the survivors of the battle. After millions and millions and millions of people on the battlefield died, these were the only survivors. Now, to discuss Bhagavad Gita in this class, it's a very extensive class to do. So I thought I'll just take the core important slokas from the introduction and try to introduce you to Bhagavad Gita. This presentation was put together thanks to His Grace Abhiram Prabhu. Let's give a big hand to him. Now, every point here is very important. Please don't take the reading of the Bhagavad Gita whimsically. So listen very carefully to every word, to every point. The Bhagavad Gita should be taken or accepted as it is, directed by the speaker himself. The speaker of the Bhagavad Gita is Lord Krishna. He is mentioned on every page of the Bhagavad Gita as the Supreme Personality of God. There's no room for speculation. There's no room for interpretation. You can accept it as it is. Every living being, out of many, many billions and trillions of living beings, have a particular relationship with the Lord. This is called Swarup. Unless one reads the Bhagavad Gita in a submissive spirit, it is very difficult to understand the Bhagavad Gita because it's a great mystery. So when we look at one of the slokas in Bhagavad Gita, Tadvadi Paripan Rashpana Savya, in this particular sloka it says one must take a guru. Not only that, one must surrender unto him but inquire in a submissive mode. You cannot approach Krishna or the Bhagavad Gita thinking that you know everything. Like most of the times we would ask some people, yes, Srila Prabhupada, oh, I have it. In my house there's so many Bhagavad Gitas. Have you read? Maybe. Do you understand? Maybe. You know? So what is the mood when you read Bhagavad Gita? You must humble yourself. Because the word in the Bhagavad Gita is good as Krishna is present himself in the book. So therefore when you have your Bhagavad Gitas with you, do not place them on your lap, do not place them on the seats. You always have to hold them respectfully in your hands. Unless one is awakened to the position of questioning why he's suffering, unless he realizes that he doesn't want suffering, but rather wants to make a solution to all suffering, then one is not considered to be a perfect human being. So if you want to be a perfect human being, you have to ask yourself, why am I getting old? Why do I have disease? Why do I have so much anxiety every day? Why is there so much of responsibilities? Why is there so much of heat, so much of cold, famine, flood, hurricanes, tsunamis, and it goes on. Why there is so much suffering? And you got the corrupt governments today that are taxing almost every dollar out of you, right? That's a suffering condition. No? So you have to inquire why we are suffering. That will be the perfection of human life. Otherwise, we are no different than cats and dogs. The cats and dogs cannot inquire, why am I suffering? Why am I here? Where am I going to? Because we are human beings, we have higher intelligence, we have the ability to inquire into the absolute truth. Now, in the Brahma Sutra, this is called Brahma Jignasa, Attato Brahma Jignasa. One must inquire into what is the absolute truth, what is Brahman. The Bhagavad Gita teaches that we have to purify this materially contaminated consciousness. Right now, our consciousness is contaminated because of so many things that are going on in our lives. In pure consciousness, our actions will be dedicated, dovetailed to the will of Ishvara. Ishvara, Parama Krishna. That means He is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Krishna. So our activities should be done for His pleasure. And that will make us happy. It is not that we have to cease whatever we are doing, but rather our activities are to be purified, and purified activities are called bhakti. Vedic knowledge is not a question of research. Our research work is imperfect because we are researching things with our imperfect senses. There are 4 things that tells us that we are imperfect. One of them is to commit mistakes. Another is to criticize others. Another is that we have imperfect senses because if there's a gunshot down the street, you can mistake that for a firework. Therefore, your senses are not perfect. If you look at the sun in the sky, you think it's a small ball, but the sun is huge. So we have imperfect senses. And, as stated in Bhagavad Gita, that we have to accept this knowledge that comes down in what we call disciplic succession. From Lord Krishna to Lord Brahma, Lord Brahma to Narada, Narada to Vyas, to the Kumaras, Madhva, Padmanabha, and it goes on till it comes to our divine grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. We cannot approach the Supreme Personality of Godhead, but rather we should approach those who know the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So we have to go into the disciplic succession. You cannot go direct. You have to have a channel. One is not allowed to accept one portion of the Bhagavad Gita and not another. So when you talk to many people about Krishna, oh, I know Krishna. He is a guy that marries so many thousands of ladies. That's what he is. He's a romantic. You know? That's what he does. He steals, he cheats. But they don't understand. He's given the highest philosophy in the world, the Bhagavad Gita. At the age of 2 years, 2 months, he was able to kill Putin. He does so much of outstanding feats that no one can describe. But these people take one portion of Krishna's life and they assume that they know it all. So that's complete. You must know the entire subject before you can comment. We must accept Bhagavad Gita without interpretation, without deletion, and without our own whimsical participation in the matter. Arjuna told the Lord, it is not possible for him to enjoy the kingdom after killing his own kinsman. This decision was based on the body, because he was thinking that the body was himself. Now, if you go to chapter 2, Bhagavad Gita, contents of the Bhagavad Gita summarized, a lot of slokas are dedicated to this fact that we are not the body, but we are spirit souls. This is where Krishna is trying to enlighten Arjuna. You are not the body, but you are the spirit soul that dwells in the body. Right? But Arjuna was thinking is the body, and that his bodily relationships are expansions where his brothers, nephews, brothers-in-law, grandparents, and so on. So think about it. Just think about this. In this life, you have a mother and father, you have a wife, you have children. Now, in 100 years from today, none of you will exist. Have you ever thought about that? In 100 years today, your children won't be here, you won't be here, and your parents won't be here. Right? So all this unnecessary endeavors being, I'm doing this for my kid, I'm doing that for my family, it'll be gone. And over 100 years ago, not one person will remember what you did. So the important thing is, try to focus your activities on Krishna, and that will last in your spiritual bank balance forever. So in this world, men are not meant for quarreling like cats and dogs. Men must be intelligent to realize the importance of human life and refuse to act like ordinary animals. Therefore, Sanatana Dharma does not refer to any sectarian process of religion. It is the eternal function of living entities' relationship with the Supreme Lord. So here's what this is. Today, I may be a Muslim, but tomorrow I may convert to Christianity. And I may be a Christian today and convert to Hare Krishnas tomorrow. So it means that faith in that particular religion is not strong. Right? Right? So religion is weakened because we change our minds from one religion to another. So that is not our eternal function. Our eternal function is Sanatana Dharma. That is what is our prescribed duties that exist eternally. That is true religion, Sanatana Dharma. And not the religion we talk, he's Muslim, he's Hindu, he's Christian, and all that stuff. That is just in the bodily conception of life. There was no Hindu, Muslim, Buddhist, Christian in the spiritual world. When you enter the spiritual world, don't say, are you a Muslim? Are you a Christian? Are you a Jew? No. It is the spirit soul. And what is just Sanatana Dharma? Well, Sanatana Dharma refers to that activity which cannot be changed. Now, one may raise the question how one goes about approaching that abode of the Supreme Lord. Information of this is given in chapter 8. It is said, Ame kalecha mameva smaram mukta kalevaram ya prayati sadmatvavam yati nasti atta samsaya. Can you read the bottom, please?
Yep. And whoever at the end of his life quits his body, remembering me alone at once, attains my nature. Of this there is no doubt.
Of this there is no doubt. Krishna is saying to you, if you remember me at the time of your death, you are going to come directly to me. But it's not as easy as that. You have family life, your work, your bank balances, you have all kinds of commitments. And then in the last moment of your death, you're going to think, what happens to my property? What happens to my kids? Who's going to take care of the big bank balance I'm leaving behind? And all these things are going on. So guess what? You're not going to the spiritual world. You're coming right back to this material world. But if you're trained in Krishna consciousness on a daily basis, and everything you see Krishna everywhere. You chant His holy names every day, and you offer everything to Him every day. At the last moment of your breath, the only thing you will think about is Krishna. There's nothing else that you will think about. Absolutely. Because I got personal experience of that. I was on my deathbed at the Toronto General Hospital. Good as gone. So much so, my spiritual master came to me 3 times. I know this is bad, he's coming 3 times to this me in the hospital. This is a bad sign. Right? So I almost go. But you know what? I was so happy. I was so ecstatic that I was not caring about the body, but all I remembered was Krishna. So I said, let's go do this thing. You know, I'm ready for you. You know, let it come. Right? And let the body go, let it go. But I'm here today because of, you know, whatever powers there are. So now we'll break for the prayer. I'm just going to say something to you. I thank you so much for your attentive listening. Now we'll move on to the next exciting, dramatic part of today's meeting. Just get together, which will be a beautiful skit. And immediately after that, we'll come back to the conclusion, which will not be as long as this. It will be a very short conclusion. So thank you for now.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama.